Kunj Tripathi here, a student of PGP05. I am Bodh Gaya. I'm here to discuss about DI section as a part of CAT Prep Series 2020, an initiative by Admissions Committee. I am Bodh Gaya. I hope the insights that I'll give you today will be beneficial to you and help you clear CAT 2020. Cheers! They say we are only scared of the unknown, and hence we might be scared of DI right now. But rest assured, DI section is not something to be scared about. When we talk about CAT, it is not one of your conventional exams. It does not test what you have learned till now. It is all about basic understanding and how you approach a problem. CAT leads you to a managerial career, and it requires you to see beyond the surface. Everybody sees what is there and right in front of you, but what is beyond that is what will set you apart. Typically talking about DI section, it tests your analytical skills. There are numbers, a lot of numbers. Everybody sees those numbers, but they form a figure. We have been playing connect the dots, connecting the numbers since we were child. DI section is right like that. We just have to derive the insights from it and we'll surely win the game. This section is one of the easiest scoring sections and will fetch you high percentiles very easily. Yes, DI section is a challenge. How did I tackle it? That was a gradual process. I used to play a lot of games that was based on numbers. I remember two precisely, one being Sudoku and the other being Nonogram. Both of these games involve numbers and you have to fill them. Now, when we talk about numbers, when you're playing Sudoku, you visualize. You think that if I put a particular number in this particular spot, it has to fit. It has to fit the column, it has to fit the row, and it has to fit the box. We visualize these numbers and it helps us have a good idea about whether that will be correct or not. But if you focus on this particular question, you'll realize that we approach the Sudoku game very differently. We don't look for the correct answer, we look for the wrong answers. And that's how I tackled my DI section. I used the method of elimination. I used to look for the answers that were definitely not correct. I used to remove them and I always left with very few options, and it was very easy to pick one of them and move ahead with the next question. To be honest, I did not practice DI much. Just enough to get the hang of approach. I used to Google a particular type of problem and used to solve the first 3-4 questions that I found. That served the purpose for me. But it might be different for you. Do not follow the practice pattern of any particular person. It is very personal thing. And it has to fit your learning style. Formulate your own practice strategy and follow it. It will help you in future as well. After deciding on solving a set, I used to spend about 2 to 3 minutes reading all the data and questions that followed the set. In this time frame, if I could figure out an approach to solve that problem, I'd proceed. Otherwise, I'll just move on to the next question. It is really important for you to know that time is not that important. Just focus on the approach. We know that 3 or 4 sets completely solved in DILR section is sufficient to get high percentiles. So, time is not an issue. If you think you can solve a set, please go for it. As soon as you start reading a set, in first minute or two, you'll be able to figure out whether that question rings a bell for you or not. If it does, go on, solve the question. If not, please move to the next question. How many sets for 99 percentile? Well, I don't have to answer that question. There are so much analysis going on about it. You can easily Google it out and you'll be able to see that some people will say 4 sets, some people will say 3 sets, some people will say 4.5 set or maybe 3.5 set. There are so many speculations about it. Do not focus on that. Just make sure that you are satisfied with the number of sets that you have solved. If that is the case, you'll be able to score good. Not necessarily. There are some questions that are innately time consuming. You might be able to solve a complete set in the time frame you'll require to solve that one question. I don't mean that you might not know the answer or you don't know how to solve the question, but just the fact that that particular question requires a lot of calculation to be done. Easy calculation, but lot of calculation. And if you are a person like me who is not good at mental math, then it is going to be difficult for you. In that particular scenario, solving that question won't fetch you enough results. If you think that particular question is going to be extremely time consuming, just solve the other questions of that particular set and move on. That is the easiest way to go about it. In case, if you have extra time, spare time left in the end, you will be able to come back to the question and solve it. If that is the case, if you have already solved 3 or 4 sets and you left a couple of questions behind of the sets that you've already solved, rather than starting a new set after the 4th set, you can go back to the old set. You already know the data and you'll be able to solve that question faster. It's sure short marks for you. So focus on what suits you the best and please follow it. Never make any mandates for yourself. There are no mandatory things in CAT. Follow what feels best to you and you will be able to crack the CAT easily. Tips to aspirants. When we address you as aspirants, make sure that we feel that you have some aspirations. And I'm sure you have a lot of aspirations. Never let those aspirations die. Keep following it and you'll definitely reach good heights. With that, we have come to closing part of this particular session. I hope we were able to deliver some value to you and it will be helpful for you in your preparations. The next video will be taken up by my friend Anukalpa Roy. He'll be talking about the QA section. Till then, keep studying, keep learning, and all the best for your CAT. Thank you.